We are April and Scott, creators of naughtygym.com, and this is The Naughty Gym Show.
For years, we've been fitness and nutrition coaches to thousands of people through our commercial gyms and online platform. We've also spent nearly a decade in an ever-evolving open relationship.
This show brings together two of our biggest passions, fitness and sex positivity. Our mission is to maximize the physical and mental health of anyone brave enough to explore relationship structures that run counter to societal norms.
We have demolished our old ways of thinking about relationships, and from that rubble, built a life full of happiness, adventure, and vitality. And now we want to help you do the same.
So hop on the treadmill, start the show, and let us teach you how to never stop playing. Welcome back to the Naughty Gym Show. I'm your host, April, and this is my IT guy and co-host, Scott.
Oh, we've been trying. We've got this whole new beautiful wall that April installed without any help from me. And I'm supposed to be in charge of getting these multi-camera angles together for the new podcast look. And I damn near...
You just had a mental breakdown.
I almost tore our house apart. I would love nothing more right now than just take a baseball bat to every piece of sheetrock in this house. Oh my God, I'm so mad. It's just now we're back to the single camera mode. It's the only thing I know how to do.
After 3 hours, you couldn't get it to work.
Any of you podcast experts that want to just call me and walk me through this process of using multiple cameras on our podcast, I would sure appreciate it. All right, go ahead.
I could probably figure it out, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I think, this is, and I know you're not going to admit this, I think you're enjoying watching me be an absolute mental basket case.
It doesn't happen often. It is entertaining. I just try to stay quiet and out of your way. And it takes everything in me not to go, do you want me to just do it? Because I'm pretty confident I could figure it out quickly.
Yeah, I want you to go, do you want me to just do it? And then I will walk away until it's done and come back and we'll be ready to go.
Okay, so next time you'll get different angles because I'm going to set it up. I'm pretty good at IT stuff, at tech stuff, like figuring stuff out.
Okay.
All right. So we have, before we jump in, I want to just people who haven't heard, but we do have a Patreon now, www.patreon.com/naughtygym. And that is where we drop the after chat. So you'll get a little more personal details, some fun stories. That is at patreon.com/naughtygym. I think we've got like 20 members. We're making a killing. Well, the reason we did that is we have had people ask us if they can support us or like, how can they support us? We don't make anything off this podcast. We do it because we felt like there was a need for it and we enjoy doing it. So if you find it helpful, you can go over to patreon.com/naughtygym and support us.
All right. Now that I'm mildly over my rage fest for the last 3 hours, tell us what's just real briefly, because I hate listening to a podcast where it takes them 20 or 30 minutes to get into the show.
Yeah. Well, we've got some fun things coming up. We actually just had a weekend away with our family, which was fun. We got back this morning. We took all of my boys and their girlfriends and our grandbaby to the lake for a few days. And this is probably the last time to have them all under one roof before our youngest goes to college. So it was a really special time. We had.
And I would like to interrupt. If you want to go to our Patreon account, you're going to get to see something today. It's pretty funny. We did a Paint Your Partner challenge at this family getaway, which is the exact same thing we did at Holidays in November of last year, our big group lifestyle trip in the Smoky Mountain. And so April and I repeated what we did before. We just painted a picture of each other. And it is crazy after like 5 or 6 months how similar she painted me to the first time and how similarly.
Well, you look the same.
I know, but like, and then so we're going to show videos of.
Only on the after chat, though.
Picture 1 and picture 2 of each of our paintings.
And then you're going to be on the hot seat for a little bit in that. Before I get into...
I'm in the right frame of mind.
Yeah, I know. I'm a rage beat you. Before we get into the events that we have coming up, this episode, we're going to be talking about a tool that we created that is in our Wild Love Theory book that helps us adjust our rules. Helps us kind of highlight some rules or impose burdens or impose boundaries that we have on each other, and kind of gives us a way to move through that.
Yeah, if you've ever felt like, well, we our rules have evolved or changed a little bit, but they've just sort of been, there's no process. We just sort of realize that this is a framework that you can use to kind of help navigate through adjusting and changing your rules as you evolve.
Yeah. So our Wild Love Theory retreat is coming up in just a couple weeks, April 15th through the 19th, and it's sold out. We've got Toronto X Club. We're going to be there June 25th through the 28th. Luna Matatas and Raw Pulse are going to be there doing workshops. Ashley Manta is going to be there. DJ B Smooth. It's going to be an incredible weekend.
Nighttime play parties, all that kind of good club environment stuff.
And you can get the weekend pass on our website. You go to naughtygym.com under the events tab, Toronto Invasion. And then we don't have all of the details for this yet, but we're doing a meet and greet in Portland, Oregon again, a PNW meetup that will be at a day at Sauvie Island, which is a nude beach, and then Club Pravada.
Which we're excited about because we probably are going to get to go this year. We didn't last year. And that club said, if I remember right, that Naughty Gym weekend last year was the largest single night they had other than their Halloween night, which is always like the Super Bowl of lifestyle nights anyway. So it was a big event last year. We assume it will be.
And that'll be July 17th through the 19th. Our Barcelona August trip is sold out. You can still get on the waiting list for that. Then we have El Salvador right after that, October 12th through the 17th. We still have 6 rooms available for that. And then our November, which is Naughty Gym month, because we have 3 retreats in November. Our Wild and Wise Women's retreat that I host with Catherine with Expansive Connection. It's all focused around thriving through menopause. So if you are anywhere between the ages of 18, 19, let's say 21 and 90, you are welcome. If you are a female vulva owner, even if you don't feel like I'm not quite in perimenopause yet, or I'm already postmenopausal, there are so many benefits to this retreat, not just the things that we're going to learn from doctors and somatic sexologists and therapists, but just the sisterhood this creates. And it's open to any sex positive women. You don't have to be lifestyle, just you're open to whatever. And then the men's Mancation Mountain, that's the men's retreat that Scott leads. Both of those are November 8th through the 11th. And then a week later, we have Holidays, which is our couples, thruples, and more sons retreat. And that is November 15th through the 20th.
Yeah, so that's more of a little bit more of your typical lifestyle. It's a bunch of couples, and we have these cool theme nights. Every night's a different holiday. And last year, all 3 of those, the men's retreat, the women's retreat, and Holidays, all sold out. So if it's something you're interested in, go to our website, book a Zoom with us, and we'll get you in.
Yep. All right. You ready to get into it?
I am. And this is going to be potentially, a tough conversation because we're literally doing this live. Like, we haven't rehearsed this. And actually, we haven't talked about our personal relational rules and boundaries like this in a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. And so we're going to show you the process that we go through to adjust our rules and boundaries. And we may not even adjust anything today. I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to show you the process and a tool that you can use to perhaps help you with this as well.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things we want to in the book Wild Love Theory, we point out that there's usually 2 types of things that are restricting people. One is the more common thing that we all think about, that we put rules in place on our relationship. I know when, we've talked about this a million times before, that when we first decided to open our relationship, we had created this list of rules that was a mile long. And April's always jokingly referred to it as our Santa scroll of rules. And now we have a chewing gum wrapper of rules instead of Santa's scroll of rules. It's dramatically decreased. But that has not been an easy and smooth process because we didn't have an easy process to use. And that's what we hope to kind of help provide you guys. So we're going to walk through one of the ways that we now bring to light our own fears and insecurities. And in that process, use those fears and insecurities to help map out how we're going to change or do that internal emotional work going forward. All right. So the first tool is a tool to help us realize what our rules are. A lot of times we present this workshop and initially people in the workshop will say, well, we don't have a lot of rules on each other. And the more we dig, especially if we get time one-on-one with that couple, we realize, well, you don't feel like you have a lot of rules. That's because you haven't really spoken them explicitly.
Right.
You sort of assume the other partner understands them, but you probably do have a lot of rules. So we're going to show you this little thing that we do to kind of help bring to light some of the things that may be in your relationship. It'll give you a path forward on how to work on it. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read this thing that is going to be in our upcoming workbook that's going to be an addendum to the actual book, Wild Love Theory. And this will help you kind of get a sense of what it would feel like to move towards more freedom in your relationship and where your fears and insecurities may be, right? Mm-hmm. All this is I'm reading a script. This is what we do in our workshops. Usually April reads this. I'm going to read it today. But when you hear this, I want you to imagine that you are reading this to your partner and that you mean it when you read it, right? Don't just, maybe get to a place, if you're riding, try to stay focused on the road. But
don't close your eyes.
But this is not something you can just sort of gloss over. You have to really put some thought into this. But in the workshops, we actually have everybody close their eyes and we read this out loud. All right. So I'm going to try to get through this quickly. Again, if you're in a place in your home, close your eyes while I read this if you want to. If you're driving, focus on the road, but really hear the words and imagine yourself delivering this speech to your partner. Okay, here we go. And this will take, about 60 to 90 seconds. This is hard for me to say, but I want to say it anyway. Part of me would rather tighten up and protect itself from anything unpredictable. But I'm trying to trust something deeper than that. I'm trusting what we have built together. I'm trusting my own ability to adapt to the realness of the person I love more than I trust the false safety that could come from controlling you. You are now free. You are free to live your life, to grow, to change, to explore with me, with others, with the world, in whatever ways feel true to who you are and to the life you are trying to build. You're free to come and go as you please. You're free to discover new desires, new truths, new parts of yourself. I do not want a version of you that stays small just to make me feel safe. I do not want your obedience. I do not want a life shaped by what you think you're allowed to want. I want what is real in you. I want your real heart, your real truth, your real choices. I trust you. I trust that choices you make will be the choices you sincerely believe are right for your life. I trust your goodness. I trust that you are not out to harm me, and that if you make a choice that is hard for me to endure, it will not be because you were careless with my heart, but because you were trying to live honestly. And if pain rises in me when you do, I do not want to use that pain as a weapon against you. I do not want to turn my hurt into blame, control, or punishment. I want to meet it as my work. I want it to be a light pointing me toward the places in me that still need healing, still need honesty, and still need strength. So I'm telling you, live. Tell the truth. Choose freely. Follow what feels deeply right and alive in you. And if you keep choosing me, let it be because your freedom keeps bringing you here, not because fear, guilt, or obligation kept you in place. That kind of choosing is the only choosing I want. I am here, I love you, and I want your freedom more than I want control. All right, so we've done this workshop now, 7 or 8 times, probably different places. And it's always tough. If you take that seriously and hear that speech, imagine saying those words to your partner. What comes to mind for you before we dig into it too deeply when you hear
Well, not so much anymore, but when I first heard that panic, well, I mean, that is essentially what you did when on the podcast that first December 2 years ago.
Just not that graceful.
Right.
Yeah.
Was you presented it to me. Yeah, not that graceful. But this can cause panic. This can cause fear. This can cause excitement. This can cause so many different emotions in somebody. I feel like when people hear this, they already have that one thing, that maybe that rule. At least maybe people like me who has a harder time with capacity sometimes. That one rule that they're thinking of during that, like, this means my partner gets to do X and I have to be okay with that. So yeah, it can shake some stuff up.
Yeah, well, and I want to be clear too. In Wild Love Theory, we do not recommend. In fact, we recommend not giving your partner complete freedom. Like, most of us have some rules that have kind of helped us navigate this open and lifestyle journey, and those rules may have changed over time, but we still have that list of rules. And what we're not advocating for is realistically what we just read.
Right.
We don't want you to go, okay, Scott and April just read this really cool thing, and I'm going to give you complete freedom. That's probably not going to work out.
Right. This is just a flashlight to kind of illuminate those places where, okay, where can I start removing some boundaries? Where can I start? Like, for me, it was, I'm going to get into therapy because I know I've got some work to do and I can't do this by myself. And I didn't want it to be your problem. Not that it's a problem, but I didn't want it to be, you can't fix it. And so it highlighted, though, where my insecurities are, where my fears are, where I get excited, where, all of those feelings in your body. It helped me kind of put some structure to that.
Because what happens typically is when most people, if you really took that serious while I was reading it, there may have been one or two or three things that immediately popped into your mind going, there's no way I could do that, because I think that if I read that to my partner, they would immediately do X or Y and Z. And all these things flame like, oh my goodness, are you mean to tell me that I'm supposed to allow my husband to go do X, or I'm supposed to allow my wife to go do Y? Those things that popped into your head are a great place to write those things down and go, here is my work. Because in almost every case, and look, we understand there's trauma and real hurt in people's backgrounds and their lives coming up. But
yeah, so sometimes that's not here is my work, here is our work. That
our
legitimately could be, this is something that both partners are going to have to actively work on.
Well, so the first time you heard that, or the first time you really imagined, or even continue to imagine, giving me more freedom than I currently have, what scares you most about that? And just, this is the time we're going to be honest.
Well, it's, for me, it's always that, am I going to, and we talked a little bit earlier, logically, I know this isn't going to happen. I mean, it could happen at any point. That I'm not going to be the special one anymore. Like, if I take all rules off and you start, say you have a girlfriend, and which we've had girlfriends, but just you by yourself, am I still going to be special? Am I still going to get those parts of him? Logically, I know I would be fine, but it's still some of those old wounds and stuff that make my chest tighten.
Well, so explain that a little bit more if you think you can, because I hear you say that, and I think I understand it, but I want to know what you mean by logically, I don't think these worries would actually be an issue.
Well, it's like...
But I still feel like...
Right. Well, it's kind of like when people say, oh, you're in an open relationship. Aren't you afraid he's going to leave you for someone else? And it's like, well, if we were in a monogamous relationship, he could leave me for somebody else. Right. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen whether you're in an open relationship or non-monogamous or a monogamous relationship. It could happen either way. And that's how I feel like with this. Like, you could meet somebody at Publix grocery store because you get hit on all the time there.
Not really.
But you do.
Sort of.
The old women love you there. That could happen. You could meet somebody at the grocery store and be like, oh my God, I just fell in love with the love of my life. And No, logically, I know that's not going to happen
Well,
because I trust you.
But would it be bad if it did?
And you left me?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I meant, let me clarify.
No, that's what I was saying.
If I really made a deep connection
no,
with somebody.
There wouldn't be anything. There would not be anything logically wrong with that. I want you to love. I want you to love deeply and love hard. What I'm saying is, I don't think you're going to go to Publix and meet someone and pack up your shit and leave.
Why?
Because I trust what we have. But I also know that if you did do that, I would be okay.
If I did. Wait a minute.
I'm just kidding.
You mean if I left you, you'd just be like, I don't care. That sounded way too flippant.
No, I'm just kidding.
That was not an answer I was thinking.
No, but I trust what we have. And I do trust you. I think you're transparent with me. I think I could ask you anything and you would answer me honestly. And that's why I've said this isn't, the rules that I have in place are not because of you. They're because of me and because of past traumas I've had and things that have happened in relationships and the way I was raised and that have created some issues.
Well, and I don't want this to sound like we're staying on your shit because we're going to get to mine eventually. It's a different type of thing altogether. But I guess, so right now, as far as these types of restrictions where one partner says the other partner is not allowed to do this or must do this way, that kind of thing, you don't have those anymore. And we've been public about that. I don't have any rules or restrictions on you. You can literally do whatever you want, when you want, with who you want.
Right.
And think of the most extreme way that could be used. And yes, that means she could do that if she wanted to. Now, does that mean I think that she's going to be out here, and I'm never going to see her again for 6 months because she's in a nightly orgy in another country? No, I don't think that. But if she chose to, she could. But that's just not really how relationships tend to work. Now,
well, and with that, I'm very conscious to not abuse that. Like, I don't want, my time with you is so special. Like, I value our time, our quality time, because we do work a lot. And so when we do have downtime, I'm very protective of the time that we spend together. Well, and so I don't want to just keep going and doing and then you're just here because I do have rules in place and boundaries around you. And so it's just, I don't want it to get so unbalanced that you're just sitting at home while I'm out jet setting around the world.
Well, and I know that about you. I have a feeling that the more freedom you lean into will be harder on you in some ways than it would be me, because there would be some of that guilt, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I do hope, and I think we've talked about this, but I maybe never said it this explicitly. Part of my hope is that you experience some of this freedom that I don't have, to some degree, and go, you know what, this is great for me. Why was I so fearful of this for Scott? It would be great for him too. Now, I want to be clear that I never took all the rules off of you in order for me to go, I'm going to trick her like this will make.
Oh, I know that.
You know what I mean? If she's doing this freedom stuff, she'll let me have it. That's not what I did.
You did not ask for reciprocity and you meant it. And that was one thing that took a while because it's not fair. And that's hard for me to use a freedom that you don't have.
Well, I don't know that it's not fair. And we're going to get to where I don't restrict you this way, but I have restricted you another way. So I'm not comfortable. I appreciate that, but I'm not comfortable saying that's not fair because there are reasons why you are not as comfortable giving me the type of freedom I've given you. And so we'll get to that too. But I don't ever want you taking this freedom that I never should have taken you. One of the things we've tried to avoid is using this language like I'm giving you your freedom.
Right.
Well, that's because the only reason I'm able to give it to you, if that's the right word, is because I took it from you in the first place. We get in a relationship and we think we have the right now to take from our partner,
Right.
things that they would normally do.
Yeah.
But because we're now in a relationship, you no longer get to be that part of yourself.
Right.
And we take that autonomy, that agency, that freedom from our person that we love the most.
And it happens in small ways. It's not like, most of the time it happens in small ways, not big, egregious, like you can't do that, or you can't dress like that, or you can't talk to, look at the waiter if he's hot. It's small things that happen in a lot of relationships that are unspoken, where, maybe somebody is too loud and boisterous and it aggravates their partner. And so they start like kind of temping down that part of their personality, or their partner doesn't like them to wear low cut shirts out in public and they really like to. And so they just don't anymore. And so it can be small things like that you do because you love somebody. But if you lived by yourself and had nobody else to, weigh your decisions on, you do whatever the fuck you wanted.
Yeah, it's curious that we typically work much harder to edit ourselves from, change the parts of ourselves that may bother or make our partner uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
We work much harder at that than we do working at becoming the type of person who doesn't get bothered by those little things.
Right.
Like we say, well, look, you irritated me when you did this.
Yeah.
Now, some things if it's an immoral thing,
right.
You probably shouldn't rob banks and bring your partner a gift based off the loot that you robbed the bank. But if you're just talking louder than your partner likes, or those aren't reasons.
Or you're late all the time.
Yeah, that's a reason to be mad. You need to work on being on time.
It's who I am.
But we think that it's much more reasonable to request that our partner change a part of themselves than it is to adjust our own emotional state so that we're not bothered by those little things anymore. It seems more reasonable because that's the way our society teaches us. Get your partner to change who they are so that you don't have to feel uncomfortable or bothered too much.
Right.
Instead of, let me work on myself so that I'm not bothered by, because the thing that your partner does that bothers you is probably something that another person would love to experience.
Yeah.
Like, I wish my partner talked more.
Those
sorts of, they're not inherently wrong things typically. They're just things that tend to bother us. And we think that if it bothers us, we should ask and they should change.
Yeah.
And I don't, we're trying to push different.
Well, I think that's one thing that has been so beautiful about our relationship and there's been things that both of us have probably tempered down a little bit, but we said from the outset, like, I love who you are. I'm not trying to fix you, change you, or mold you into something else. Like, I hate when women say, I trained my husband well. I'm like, ew.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
It does. It gives me
either direction.
Because I'm like, why? For what? Like, are you his mom? Yeah. Like, unless you're his mother, you should not be training a full-grown man.
Well, let's talk about, on our way home today, we were discussing this podcast and how we were going to, address it and things. Let's go. We had an interesting conversation about the rules you still have on me. Mm-hmm. With rare exception, one rule is I'm not allowed to privately text people. Now, there are a handful of people I would say you're okay with that because I do. We have some really close friends that I privately message with. And if you're one of those ones, I've been messaging you occasionally. That's because you're allowed. That's because April distrusts you, and that's great. But as a general rule, I would need to clear that with you for you to feel comfortable, right? We were talking about this podcast, and you said, well, what is a rule that I have on you that you would like to see me maybe take away for 30 days? Yeah. We have this exercise we call the lock and key exercise, where you have this lock on your partner, and they're not allowed to do this thing, and you unlock it and give them that key for 30 days. We actually do that in a workshop. We literally hand people skeleton keys. Yeah. And for 30 days, you allow them to have that freedom of whatever that rule was. And we got talking about the rules that you have on me, and there's not many, but it's almost as if letting go of one of them would only make sense if you were letting go of the rest
all
of
of
them.
them. And that's what I said. I was trying to think of okay, well, what rule would I say, let's do away with this for 30 days because that gives us a chance to kind of test it out, help me build some capacity, move through some uncomfortableness. What would I remove that isn't kind of a chain reaction? Like if I'm going to remove one, I might as well just remove them all.
Well, just as an example, the first thing you brought up was, okay, would you like me to just remove there's no separate messaging rule? And I thought, well, I'm already separate messaging some of the people I'm closest to. And I'm not a big we don't text.
Right.
We've talked about this a million times. I'm sure if I had this hot new NRE relationship, I'd text more at first, but that would eventually fade because it's just not who I am.
Right.
It's not who we are.
Right.
But you said, well, what if, we did that and you start messaging, but that woman, if that messaging goes well and you guys are hitting it off, is probably going to want to see you somewhere.
Right. So I'm like, what's the point?
Like if you can't date, why a separate message?
Right. Well, that was my point. Like you're already separate messaging the women that, are friends and stuff like that you would anyway. So where would you meet somebody new? And so I was like, would you get on a dating app? But then
no.
What's the point of getting on a dating app if you're not going to go on a date? And then if you're going to go on a date, what's the point of going on a date if sex is off the table? And so I'm just doing this mental gymnastics in my head. Doesn't make sense. I can't think of just one without a chain reaction. I mean, I don't want you to feel like you're sitting on your hands. I don't want to go, okay, you can separate message. And then you're like, well, who the fuck am I going to separate message? Or am I going to meet somebody? Okay, well, you can get on a dating app, but you can't ever see them. Well, it just doesn't make sense.
That's another thing. One of the things, months ago, and I don't think this is probably exactly the way you feel now, but you had said a year or two ago, I don't want you going out on a date with somebody that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go out on a date with somebody I don't know.
Right.
So it's that's a no-go situation. I don't want to get on dating apps.
Well, that was 2 years ago.
Right. And I think that's probably changed.
Yeah.
But we've not had that explicit conversation. Yeah. So tell me how you feel about that now.
I don't think I would mind it. I mean, as long as I liked the person.
What does that mean? I
mean, if it's a sketch woman, I'd be like, I don't think so, because you've been into some sketch women.
Okay. That's going to sound like if you've ever made out with me or she thinks you're sketch. That's not
that's not true. Scott has an affinity for not seeing red flags.
That is also
which is
true.
Why he's married to me. But you're a little slower, but you do eventually see them. So one of my fears.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
One of my fears, legitimately, would be, and this is prophesizing. This isn't even. This is just a made up me catastrophizing. You meet this woman, or you start dating this woman that I already had on my radar as red flag drama. You didn't see it. I can't say anything. And then.
What do you mean you can't say anything?
Well, I wouldn't. I would be that you're a grown man. You're going to have to figure this shit out on your own.
Okay.
And then I invite drama into my life because she's a lunatic.
Okay, but what if... All right. Let me go back. I do think you see red flags quicker than me, but I think that is also borderline problematic. Because I think you see red flags also when they're not there sometimes.
If they're yellow, they're red.
All right. So I see yellow flags as caution. You see them.
I see them as too much work. I am not doing this.
But a lot of times we've had many situations over the last 11 or 12 years where we thought one thing and turned out we were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Both of us have done that. So here's what I think because of your childhood and my childhood's differences, I tend to see green flags. You tend to see red flags, just in general.
Yes, I agree.
And we're neither right.
Yeah.
Like there's more red flags out there than I see.
Right.
There's more green flags out there.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And you're right. One of the hardest things when I took all rules off of you, whatever that was, a year and a half ago or something, one of the things that I imagined in my head that was the scariest was you getting with this guy that I thought was an absolute douchebag.
Right.
Just I can picture him in my head exactly what I'm thinking about.
Which in my dating and marriage history would probably not be far off.
Well, but and we all do that. We all get with people that our friends, our closest friends around us go, oh my goodness,
what's happening?
Why are they with that person that they're awful for each other? And a lot of times we think, and this is something we talk about in the book, a lot of times we confuse that intense chemistry with long-term compatibility
and alignment.
And they're not the same thing. You can have wildly intense chemistry, great sex, incredible conversation, and be totally mismatched for each other in the long term.
Yeah, you can have zero values that align.
Yeah, and those things are important. We talk about that in the book, and we won't go with that. But I am slower at seeing red flags, but that's almost, I feel like, a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, it probably
because
is.
It's
like the difference between a pessimist and an optimist.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little more pessimistic.
All right. But that's a legitimate concern. Because I see green flags more easily than I see red flags, it does raise the possibility that I could get into some sort of dating or relationship with somebody that has red flags that I don't see at first.
Yeah.
So I can completely understand why you would worry about that. I do think, though, that I will eventually see them.
Yeah.
And I have no problems ending it once I do see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing to talk about, giving your partner the ability to navigate that on their own.
Yeah.
Because you could legitimately start dating some guy that I just don't like. And that is going to be tough for me. But I hope that if that situation happens, that I'm able to step back and go, well, sweetheart, I think I don't know. I think he's a bad guy. I don't trust him. I'm not real comfortable with this, but I do trust you. And I'm here to hold your hand through this. And I hope I'm wrong.
I don't think that's going to happen. First of all, because you're my best friend. So who would I talk to about somebody that I'm dating? You. And if my best friend doesn't like somebody I'm dating, that is a thumbs down. They're going to go. That's important to me. It's important to me that you like somebody that I'm connected to, because you're you're my primary person. You're my number one.
And you are seeing a guy right now that I think, from every piece of evidence we have, is an incredibly stand-up, nice guy.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, fuck you for being so nice. She really likes you. But that I am incredibly happy that I have gotten to the point where if a person makes you happy, in the scenario where I also think he's a good person, then that is a big plus for me.
Right.
I may have some flutters of jealousy here and there, but they're way overwhelmed by the positives I feel from you experiencing that. But it would be different if I didn't like the guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I will voice it if I don't like a girl you're dating.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't tell you to stop seeing her, but I would let you know what my opinion was.
So what would happen in that situation? Like if I thought, you know what, I hear you, but I think you're wrong. I think you're judging her too quickly. I'm going to keep going out.
That's just one of those things I would just have to sit with.
Would you though?
I mean, yeah, I don't want, if I'm going to remove boundaries, I don't want to have to micromanage it. Right? Like that's the whole point of freedom, is you are a full-grown autonomous human. You can make your own decisions. You're a grown man. And so that's really easy to say.
Right. Yeah.
It's very easy to say. And the part that scares me is I know it's going to be incredibly difficult to sit in and move through those emotions. But I've been doing a lot of work, and I think I'm getting to a place that I'm ready to get into uncomfortable spaces.
Well, because we were talking earlier today about, I asked you, I don't remember how I worded it, but what is the real big concern for you? And you one of the things you talked about was, well, what if you get to where you're occasionally going on a date with somebody and you start missing them or
Yeah.
I think that was the phrase that really stuck.
Well, like falling in love, you fall in love with somebody and then like you miss them constantly. You can't stop thinking about them. And then you're spending more and more time away. And
well, I agree agree. I do think that would be a problem. Like if I got in a relationship, well, let me say this, and this is extreme, and I want to say, because I want to be honest, I have no interest in ever going out on a date with somebody that I don't think missing them is like, if I don't think that there's somebody that I could like so much that I could miss them when they're not around, I don't want to go on a date.
Yeah. There's not very many people I miss other than my children.
Well, and I don't know, we say miss them. That's hard to make that maybe as clear. I think if I was sitting around crying because I missed them or I was depressed, now that's a problem, and maybe it's a different type of problem. That's not what I mean. Yeah. Like, I would hope that you or I, neither one would ever go out with somebody that we're not, especially a second date or a third date. We're not
looking forward to going to.
Because why go?
Right.
Otherwise?
Right.
Now, if it is negatively impacting your ability to live your day-to-day life, right. You can't get your work done, you can't interact with your primary partner because you're so obsessed with your
metamor,
right? Then yeah, I think that's an issue.
Yeah,
I don't want that.
Yeah,
but I don't want to go out with somebody and be like, well, the only reason I'm going out with them is because I don't really like them that much. So right. I'm not going to be that excited. So there's no emotional baggage here.
I know. See, what I'm saying is it doesn't make sense. But those are emotions that I have to make room for.
Yeah, because I know I won't speak for me. I want you to feel free to engage with other people in whatever way fills you up.
Right.
If that's love, if that's lust, if that's just a goofy, fun time, I don't care what it is.
Right.
As long as it's actually what you want.
Right.
I want you to pursue it, and I want you to pursue it in whatever way you feel comfortable pursuing it without my interference.
Yeah.
That is so difficult. But that's the work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's not easy. You've gone out on 2 fucking dates with the current guy you're seeing.
Yeah.
Just 2.
Yeah.
And we've written 1 chapter in the book about it. And I mean, so I'm not saying this stuff is easy. If you're listening to us going, oh, they just got it figured out. We do not have anything.
It's a constant work in progress.
Yeah. And, it's not easy. And I think the biggest reason for that is because of the way we've been brought up, what society tells us is normal, what we should like, what we shouldn't like, what should be hard, what shouldn't be hard. But we can see it in other areas of our life. And you talk about this a lot. Like, I want my kids and my grandkids to be loved by many people, yeah. And I want them to love many others. And we're cool with that.
Right.
But when it comes to me and you, when it comes to that primary partner, we get much more protective, scared, fearful, insecure. Yeah.
That's what somebody just asked this week. They were talking about, they had read some chapters in the book, one of our Wild Love Theory attendees, and said, is there a different word for love that we could give to our primary partners? Or, if we say we love our husband or wife, but then we're going to, and dating, is there a different word that we could use for love? Because it just feels really uncomfortable using the same word for both and trying to differentiate that kind of love. And I was like, well, there's not, but it's like I have 3 children and I love all of them, but I don't need different words to differentiate the way I love you and the way I love my kids. I can say I love you and I can tell my kids I love you. They know that that's a different kind of love. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I don't think, and this is like chapter 13 in the book. There's not a lot of research out there that supports the idea that the underlying love is different. You love your kids, you love a romantic partner, and people will freak out when they hear that. But really what's different is it's the other things that come. There's love, and then there's the things that get packaged around that love.
The framework.
Yeah,
of love.
and in the book we talk about the flame and the fireplace. And the flame is the same. I mean, it's this warmth. It's this feeling of attraction and wanting the best for somebody else. The fireplace is the structure we build around that, depending on that person. So if it's our kids, it's protection, it's providing, it's giving them support and all this kind of stuff. If it's a romantic partner, that fireplace looks different. It's
right.
We're going to go out on romantic dates. We're going to hold hands. We might actually have sex.
Right.
It's a different. We might commit if it's a partner that we want to spend our life with and live in a house with together and share bills. Those things that we build around that flame of love are different. And that's where the responsibility comes in.
Yeah.
That's where you can feel like you're special because your fireplace is built a little bit different than, the hot person I'm dating on the weekend.
Right.
Her fireplace is going to be a little bit smaller or something. I don't know how to explain it, but I think we have got to figure out a way to stop being so scared of feeling real love towards other people.
Yeah.
We can be scared of what we do with that love, but don't be scared of the love.
Yeah.
That's what makes the world a better place.
Are you going to start singing?
I wish I could. I would sing right now. So we keep talking about one of the things that is important if you have these rules in place is to revisit them. They need to be temporary. We build these rules and we call them scaffolding in the book. They're things that are meant to protect the relationship that you're building, but they're not meant to be permanent.
Right.
It may not be that some of them can come down, but that's the goal, is to do the inner work necessary to remove all the scaffolding off of your relationship. Right now, is there anything? We haven't really made an adjustment to any of the rules that you have on me in a decent amount of time.
Since January.
Yeah, the last we've done experiments, it feels like.
Yeah.
Like, hey, at this event, I'm okay with you making out with whoever you want to.
Right.
No sex, you can make out.
Right.
But that was never like and that applies to every day hereafter.
Right.
kind of thing. So I'm curious, has anything changed since January? Is there anything that you feel like, all right, I think my capacity has grown, my trust has grown, my whatever has healed, that I can let go of this rule right now?
Well, that's a tough one to ask because, like I said earlier, it feels like they are all kind of connected. So I don't even know what is a rule that you would want to not have in place.
Yeah. And this is the conversation we had earlier today.
Yeah.
And we realized that this is considering where we're at, is a difficult answer. I know what I ultimately want.
Right. And I know what I ultimately don't want, as far as I don't want any restrictions on you. I don't want to have any boundaries on you. I want you to feel free to move through the world the way you want to.
Well, but I want to say why I want to be clear in why I want that and why I don't want it. The reason, like, I don't get excited thinking about, oh, what if one day she removes all rules from me? That will mean that I get to do this. I get to fuck this person or have sex over here or do whatever. It doesn't feel seedy for me. What it feels like is if what I would love to experience, and honestly, I don't know that I've ever experienced this in any lifestyle situation we've ever been in, where I no longer have to worry that my actions are going to hurt you.
Right.
Because nobody is more important to me than you. And I would love to be able to be in an environment where if I meet somebody, man or woman, that I go, oh my God, I really like this person. We have so much in common. I want to sit here and have this conversation for another hour and go, but is an hour too long?
Right.
Is 30 minutes too long? Should I go check in now?
Yeah.
I want to get to the point where you think that man right there has my best interest at heart, no matter what he's doing, even if I'm bothered by what he's doing.
Right.
I know he's not intentionally, and I want to feel like that's the kind of trust and confidence you have in us. Not so that I can do X, Y, or Z, but so that I feel like, you know what, I've been this good to her. Oh, that makes me cry.
Well, stop being a pussy. What I do think is important to say is this isn't a because like what you were saying, like I want to be free to be at an event and spend as much time with whoever I want to. This isn't saying be callous to your partner and be like, I know we haven't had a lot of quality time with each other, but fuck you. I just found somebody that I'm connecting with. And I know I said I would spend some time with you, but I'm in the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, before you finish, if you're intentionally doing something you know is hurting your partner, you're just an asshole.
Right. Or if your partner...
You're not claiming your autonomy.
That can be unintentional too. And that's why
I'm saying if you're intentionally doing it, knowing that you're hurting your partner, you're just being an ass. And that's not wild love theory. That's just...
But this is why it's very important to continually have conversations, especially going into events. I mean, there's been some events where you and I had been working around the clock for a month and had no time together. And then we're getting thrown into a week-long party, sexy play. And I'm like, I don't feel connected to you. Like it would probably hurt my feelings if I saw you connecting with somebody and spending some really good quality time with somebody when I'm not getting that. So I think it's important to have those conversations with your partner before you go to events or before, and even now I have no rules or boundaries, but I'm still constantly checking in with you, especially if I'm going to schedule a date. Like, how are you feeling? Would you be okay with this? And I know you want to say, yeah, you get to choose. But because we love each other, it's a conversation that has to be had because I want to make sure that you're feeling connected to me, that you feel like I'm giving you good time and present time. And before I go spend time with somebody else.
Then what could you release from me right now? Even let's take, we've talked.
It's so funny.
But we've talked.
Devil.
No, but we've talked about why it feels like it. We've gotten to the point where there's so few rules on me now that releasing one almost means like, well, I might as well release them all because otherwise releasing this one doesn't mean much.
Right.
But forget that for a second. What's one thing that you've said, I don't want you doing that you feel like now, if it's just that one thing,
really private texting. I mean, that feels like that would be a fairly easy one to.
Okay. So are you saying?
Yeah, I will do that for 30 days.
And then we'll come back on the podcast 30 days from now and say, all right, here was, Scott.
Scott has 15 hours of screen time a day.
No, that's not what's likely to happen. It's going to be like, Scott had 12 people messaging me and responded to this.
Here's what I told you would happen. When I said at Hito, you can kiss whoever you want to. And I said that on stage. That day and the next day, 100 women came up to me.
That is not true.
They were like, your wife said you were kissing everybody. And I'm like, I just know I'm going to see on the podcast. You can text whoever you want to, whenever you want to. It doesn't have to be in a group. You can do private. All of a sudden, his phone's going to go ding, ding, ding.
Well, you probably just shut that down with that speech. But I'll tell you what's actually going to happen is when I told you have no rules, and I thought, oh God, I know what's going to happen.
It was crickets.
When this podcast is going to go out, all these guys are going to message you. Nothing. Nobody messaged you. So nobody's going to message me either. So like 30 days, we're going to have the most boring.
We're going to just be normal.
Yeah, Scott texted his plumber and this person.
I'm your plumber.
All right. So, all right, good. So Scott has the ability to message anybody he wants to.
Yes.
In whatever way I want to.
Yeah.
I could sext. I could.
Yeah. I didn't say this is going to be easy, but
nothing.
Yeah, we need to
no
get
changes easy.
Yeah,
right.
You can text,
and that's a serious conversation because you've never engaged in any of this stuff separately that didn't at least bother me a little.
Right.
Some stuff bothered me more than others, but you're right. It's never easy.
Well, so in those moments when it bothers me, I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to the way your body reacts to something like that is, well, for me anyways, is I start to get dysregulated. My chest starts to tighten and I immediately feel that knee-jerk reaction to go, stop this. It's causing me pain. This hurts. I don't like it. I need to make him stop. And I don't want to do that because I know that is something I need to learn to override and That's how my nervous system is going to build capacity. That's what we're talking about when we say we've said a couple times, I need to build capacity. I need to, just like exercising a muscle, it's going to be sore. And that means that there's growth. The muscle tears, and as it repairs, it's a little bit sore. And that's how you build a stronger muscle. I need to get into these uncomfortable areas and sit with it and allow my central nervous system to regulate and to build more capacity.
All right. Well, now that this is public and now millions of women are going to be messaging me, what do you, seriously, I mean, let's say I were to start messaging somebody. What do you need from me?
I need you to give me a heads up. I'd like to know who you're messaging.
So bad for you, because we have total access to each other's phones.
Yeah.
So what would be bad for you is if you opened my phone one day and saw very flirtatious messages that I haven't told you about.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to be conscious that, you're not like we're at our grandkids' birthday party and you're not on the phone texting someone the whole time, that you're present.
Let me see them titties, girl.
Yeah. Sending dick pics, the bathroom at Chuck E. Cheese.
Which, by the way, I've never done once in 12 years to anybody. I don't think. Okay. All right, good. So that's my new release lock for the next 30 days. 30 days, we'll review it and go, does this rule need to be put back in place? Or are we good with this for now? And that's the point, is to review it. It needs to be purposeful, intentional, where we talk about it and put it out there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the other type of, and by the way, those imposed, that's what we call an imposed boundary, a rule that says you can't do this, or you need to do this whenever this happens. Those kinds of rules. There's another type though.
Yeah. And
this one, we didn't recognize it first. This was all you figuring this out.
Yeah. So I recognized this. I just didn't have the verbiage to correctly communicate it to you, because I had tried for years to communicate it to you and was literally banging my head against a wall.
And that is 100% true. That's the embarrassing part of the story. So keep going.
So it's what we call emotional burdens.
Or imposed
burdens. Yeah. And so what that looks like, or looked like for me, was you hated doing taxes. Who doesn't? But like any kind of paperwork, any kind of business admin, personal bills, overseeing how the household runs, like making the grocery lists, managing family holidays, and making sure that you've checked on your mom or your daughters or your grandkids.
And by the way, I need to check on my mom today.
Arranging those kind of things. Like if we're going to all get together, I would be the one arranging it, planning the meals, the timing, getting the house ready. All of those burdens kind of fell on me. And it started, really, I went from my first marriage into this marriage, and I just kind of moved into that role because it just felt natural. And then there were some things like, you don't like doing taxes and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, I fucking hate it too, but somebody has to do it. So if he's not going to do it, I have to do it. And I got to the place several times where I was just so burnt out. A couple of years ago, we were running 3 businesses, and I was handling all the admin for all 3 of them and everything else. And I would come to you and say, look, I'm burnt out. I can't do this anymore. At one point, I went through like a pretty big depression where I was like, I'm having no fun. Like my whole life is office work and bills and schedules and spreadsheets. And I'm like, and he's over there planning amazing trips to El Salvador and all these fun places. Yeah.
And I couldn't understand why, when we're getting ready to go on these trips, you were so stressed out and not excited. I was like, I can't wait to go see all these people that are coming on our trip. And it is a pathetic example of a lack of awareness that it took me getting to this point where we're writing a book together, and I'm trying to give you this freedom that I think is this great gift because I'm such an awesome guy. and you can't even lean into it because you're too fucking busy doing the shit that I say, well, you probably should do it because I'm not any good at it. You want to get our power bill turned off? Well, then you should be making sure you pay the bills.
Right.
I didn't say it like that, but that's essentially what happened.
Right.
And you can't lean into that freedom because you don't have any time. You're exhausted.
Right.
You know, you're like, and it's not and I actually hired a therapist. She's a specialist in this emotional exhaustion thing where us guys think that, you know, we don't think this maybe on the top of our thought process that it's our wives' jobs to keep the house clean and do X, Y, and Z. But I'll catch myself doing things like, hey, baby, do you need any help with the housework today?
Right.
It's like, well, bitch, why is it the help? Why am I helping? It's your job too.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like men will say I'm babysitting my kids. And it's like, well, you're not babysitting children that are yours. You're just watching. It was
a cool thing. We had a Zoom call with this lady that's a specialist in this. And so many times I said things in that Zoom where she goes, whoa, you're not helping her with the dishes.
Yeah.
Because if you say you're helping her with the dishes, it's the same as saying the dishes is her job.
Right.
But you'll grace her with the opportunity to allow her to let you help her tonight with her job.
Well, and I have stopped thanking you for doing your part of the work because I'm like, nobody thanks me for cooking dinner or doing my laundry.
But I should do that too.
Or vacuuming or like, because that's just, we live in a house. We are 50-50 partners. There's not you're not above me. I'm not below you. Like we share this. And so the work of the house is shared work.
Yeah.
And so we've found a way to split that up that feels equitable for both of us.
Yeah, but we are getting closer to that.
We are getting closer.
We haven't found a way that is perfect yet.
Right. Well, we're working on it.
You're still doing more, and I am working the process of getting better at that. But, I mean, just as an example, we might be going to a party. We're driving, and I'm excited. I can't wait to get there because as I'm driving or you're driving, I'm thinking about all of the things that could happen at this party. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why you can't. But the reason is because you're going, did we start the washing machine before we left? Did the taxes did the business taxes get paid? Did I make payroll? None of that I'm thinking about.
Right.
All I'm thinking about is, hey, that girl who I think's got a hot ass is going to be there. I want to talk.
Well, and until a month ago, when we started this process, or maybe a little over a month ago, you didn't know where we banked. You didn't know what accounts we had. You didn't know business bills, personal bills. You didn't know any of it. I mean, we literally went line by line on a spreadsheet. This is what this bill, here's the due date. Here's the amount that it is. And I turned over all of our household bills to you. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask you about it anymore. And that's the hard part is, and this is the lady that you're working with who helps with the emotional burdens is, she told me, she said, okay, April, do not remind him. You're not, because as soon as I remind you, I move into manager role.
You're enabling me.
Right.
In some sense.
And then she said, if his job's to clean the bathroom, tell him, like write a SOP. This is exactly how it gets done. This is the cleaning supplies you use. This is what we did our business. I had a SOP for everything, how you clean the bathroom, how you clean.
For your employees.
Right.
Right, yeah.
But she said, if you don't tell him how to do it, then you can't complain that it's not done right.
Right.
And then if he doesn't do it right, do not do it again. So it takes a lot of self-control and a lot of changing your thought patterns because it's just so habit to walk in. Of course, I still thank you for doing sweet things around the house. But
and she actually even said, you should thank him.
Right.
Because he should also thank you.
Right. But what I was saying was when it was so unbalanced, I would get so excited that you were washing the dishes for me. I'd be like, thank you so much for washing the dishes for me.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, thank you for doing my job.
Right.
That's the problem. It's not your job. It's our job. And the sad thing is that it took this book, which is something I deeply care about, to finally make me see it. Because it's not like this book was
more than me.
Yeah. No, it's not true. It's not, like you said this earlier, you've been saying this our entire marriage,
Right.
but you've been so kind about it. You've like, hey, do you mind? This is not exactly how it would go every time, but it was something like, do you mind helping me with this today?
Yeah.
And I let myself go, yeah, I'll help. I'll do anything you ask me to. Just ask me. Well, that means you have to keep thinking about it.
Right.
You
That
have to
creates
keep
more
you have to keep a
emotional
mental ledger about it. You have to, it's still work for you. And you've said before, well, I might as well do it. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I might as well do it.
Well, you'd be like, just tell me what to do. And I'm like, I don't know where to begin. Like, where you want to help with taxes? Then let's sit down. I want to teach you how to do taxes.
And there's no
do you
way.
Want to vacuum? Like,
and there's no way any person, woman or man, is going to feel hypersexual
right
when their mind is flooded with everything in the world they need to be doing that isn't done yet.
Right.
And I never had to experience that.
Right.
And you never got to not experience
right.
that. And that's the part of the book that was a very late edition. And I think might end up being the single most important aspect of this book. If you want your partner to feel sexy and free and have the time to do this, make sure you're giving them the time to think about those things. And they don't have that time if they're the one that is responsible for everything or the majority of everything.
Yeah.
And that's been my failure as a partner. And I'm going to be honest, it's been my failure in every relationship I've ever had.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing is it took this book, which is something I'm very proud of and is an important part of my life for me to finally go, oh, well, that's what she means when she's
if you want to talk about it, it got serious this past fall because I was so emotionally and mentally exhausted. We had just a horrific year last year.
Yeah.
And I was caretaking for everyone and I was just done. I was like, I am suffocating under this. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I was depressed. And I asked you to leave for a week. I was like, this isn't forever, but I need some space. I need to breathe. I need to not take care of somebody.
Well, right. Because not only were you taking care of me, but we're taking care of some friends that were going through multiple sets of friends that were going through some very difficult stuff. And from my perspective, that request I need a week alone, I need you to go away, was like, hey, we have this great relationship. Also, I need you to leave.
Yeah, you were mad.
Oh, I was pissed. And I'm still pissed.
But
I understand it.
But even at that point, you didn't understand. It was still a couple months later before you were like, you had like an aha moment while we were writing a chapter in the book. And I was like, I think I just put words to what I've been feeling. And that's when it finally clicked. But at the time I asked you to leave for a week, I was like, this is going to shake. This will do it. Like he'll understand. He's my best friend. I don't want to be away from him. And I'm asking him to leave for 7 days so that I can breathe and not take care of somebody and not answer a million questions and not caretake for anybody but myself. And I took that week and I'm like, I'm only focusing on myself.
And that did impact me, obviously.
Yeah.
Mostly it just made me mad.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel a lot of shame about the fact that you got to a point where, and I mean, I think you'll agree that we have always said and felt, both of us, that we have this incredible relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And what felt like out of the blue, hey, move out.
Right. It felt like it felt like out of the
right.
blue. Right.
That's what I'm saying. The problem was, this is where the shame comes in. The only reason I ever really feel like I got it is because I wanted this book to be a success.
Right.
Why were you not accepting this beautiful gift that your husband was giving you, this freedom? And I realized, because she's fucking tired. In the 30 minutes of a break she might get at night at 8:30, she doesn't want to go see some guy or some girl.
Yeah.
She wants to go to bed and relax and not think about all the shit that's got to be done the next day that she's got to do. And her husband is going to be only tangentially capable of helping. That's the thing I feel the worst about.
Yeah.
I wished it didn't take that for me to finally wake up and go, well, this is, what you need to do to be a better husband.
Right.
Because I think I'm a good husband.
I think so too.
I just think I have problems that I wasn't seeing, and I regret that. But I do think that we've both made progress you have
Oh, yeah.
you have loosened up on some of your rules on me, and I have taken over. I'm in the process of taking over a bigger load of the household stuff.
Yeah, you are.
And I think that's given the past 12 months that we've had, has not been easy with some of the stuff we've had to go through with some friends and things, and friends that we dearly love and we want in our life forever. We're not regretting that we had to help.
Right.
But those things are stressful. And then we had this issue with us trying to navigate this freedom. I'm proud that we've been able to navigate that and come out the other side a better couple.
Yeah,
stronger.
me too. I think so too. So are you going to take some more imposed?
Well, that's the next point. What, and this is early on in this process for us. It wasn't that long ago that we hired this person to help us redistribute the workload of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what I have done well, and tell me what you would like for me to do better.
You have handled the bills really well. You get really frustrated still because it's hard.
It is so fucking hard.
Logging into his bank account.
They changed the password on me.
At least once a week, Scott gets locked out of the bank account.
God.
I've had the same password for 20 years.
What am I doing wrong?
Never been locked out. So that's kind of funny, though.
What do you want more from me? What is the next thing I can do better?
So let me tell you a little story. So you are around the house. Housework have really stepped up, doing your share. And I've had to remind you of a couple things, but I try not to. So like this past weekend, we took the family to the lake house, and you did go grocery shopping with me, but the 90% of the planning and the executing and the daily running of the thing was on me. And we all had a great time, but it was the kind of like I would wake up first and, okay, it's time to make breakfast. Everybody, who's going to help with breakfast? So it was just like I was constantly doing something. And so I think moving forward on trips, I would like, especially around the family stuff, like Easter is next weekend. So typically I invite your mom over, the boys will invite your girls if they're free, and then I'll cook dinner. And then I'll do Easter baskets or something for, the adults and one for your mom. So that kind of stuff, while I typically haven't asked you to help because you'll say something like, well, they don't need Easter baskets.
Yeah, because they're 38 years old.
But it is something really special that they'll remember. But I would like help with that in the planning and the execution of that.
Well, I will do a better job. Yeah, I mean, we had a little dust up this weekend, like you said, and I got my feelings hurt because you acted like it felt like you were accusing me of things that I didn't feel like I was doing, and then it turned into a little bit of an argument.
Well,
I say when we have an argument,
I know, but
it's very
things
minimal.
that I wasn't accusing you of doing something. I thought you had been on your phone more than you had. I asked if you could put your phone away.
Yeah.
And that turned into a little dust up.
And because I looked at our phone time over the last 2 days and you'd spent more time on yours than me.
Mine was recording. Mine was my camera from recording videos of the family.
Yeah, you always have an excuse. But, that being said.
Stay tuned for the after chat where Scott gets punched on live.
No, you're absolutely right. If I think I'm the type of husband that can give you the freedom to live your life the way you want to live it, I have to do my share of giving you the time to do that.
Yeah.
That's where you've always been the strongest. It's been easy for me to lean into any freedom you give me because I have more time than you do.
Right.
And I've got to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for letting myself. I've used an excuse that you're so much better at some of that stuff as an excuse to quote, let you do those things.
Right.
And I've got to stop that. And I will fix it. It'll take time, but I will fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you. And I want you to know that whatever freedoms you give me with other people, I will use that to the best of my ability to get to know and love people in whatever way I want to love them.
I know.
But I can't imagine that anybody could ever replace the life we've built together over the last 12 years. All I want to do is grow old on a porch in a rocking chair with my person, and that's you. And I feel thankful that I have a person that loves me that I don't feel like I deserve. And I can't.
You've got to stop.
I can't imagine living a better life than what I have now. So thank you for everything you've ever given me and for what you've put up with me, because you deserve better and I'm going to be better.
No, I appreciate that. And I love you. I think we are good together. And this is a learning and growing process. And that's the beautiful thing about our relationship, as we're both allowing each other to grow. And we didn't know what this was going to look like 11 years ago. And I think it's getting more and more beautiful every day.
Yeah, I do too.
So step your shit up. So,
all right.
Because I was going to say before you started getting emotional, this weekend, had I already removed the boundary of no private texting and you can text whoever you want, that would have been something I would have been like, here I am cooking all of the meals and doing all of this, and he's over there texting some woman.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of things I think we need to be conscious of. I should have said to you going into the weekend, hey, I'm going to need you to do this and be a part of the planning and the executing of things.
Yeah. One of the things we all make is all of us. We make the mistake of thinking that our partner knows what we want.
Right.
We think they're a mind reader, and that is a devastatingly bad mistake.
Yes.
You don't have to be mean. You can say, hey, over the next 3 days, you haven't done anything wrong. I just want to let you know that I'd love to see you do X, Y, and Z instead of QLM. I couldn't think of 3 letters. I couldn't think of 3 consecutive ABC.
Oh my God. QRS.
Is that
QLM?
QRS? I don't know what I said. But anyway, I think it's beautiful what we've built. I think this book is really going to help some people. And we've had a lot of people message us that we've asked to read the book ahead of time. And if you're interested, make sure you follow what we're doing on social media. The book's going to come out in hopefully July.
Yeah.
Should be July 4th.
And probably our Patreon members will get first dibs at getting a copy, and our Naughty Gym members.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to wrap this up. We'll check back in 30 days. So not the next podcast, but the one after that. But for now, we're going to head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Naughty Gym. Scott's going to be in the hot seat for this one. And we're going to reveal our portraits that we painted over the weekend of each other. I look like Leatherface. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you want to support us, go over to our Patreon. And for now, remember to never stop playing.